What is up, everybody? We are back for another episode of Palm City Chucks. We know it has been a bit of a layoff since you've heard from us. That's
Yes.
on us. A little busy, a little lazy, a little combination of everything, if we're honest. But we
Yeah.
are so excited to be back, and we're going to be talking the NFL draft. Going to talk a little bit about how we thought some of the teams did, really going to focus in on the Lions and the Eagles being our two favorite teams, and a bit more of a focus on round one than the others for obvious reasons. But we won't leave out the players that were drafted 2 through 7. Don't you worry. They got their name called. They deserve to be discussed at least a little bit. But with that, let's get right into the draft talk, man. I kind of want to get started with first round focus, expand on the teams. Some things that I really didn't like. I just didn't agree with the pick that the teams made, and I'm gonna start with one that hits a little close to home to me. Penn Stater got passed over for another tight end, and I personally think this was the worst pick in the first round of the draft. Not necessarily because the guy is not talented. To clarify, this is Colston Loveland, the tight end out of Michigan, going to the Bears. The pick just made no sense to me. First off, why are you going tight end? You got other needs. That's the first question I'm asking. Second question I'm asking is, if you're gonna go tight end, why are you picking a player who has the exact same tight end mold as a guy already on your team? You're doubling up.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? Why not get the most dynamic tight end we have seen in a long time come out of college with everything that he can do in Tyler Warren? I just Bears are one of your, sub baby favorite teams, so please give
Sub.
me some insight here.
Yeah. I like Loveland, but I never thought Warren would be available there. And if he was, we had to take him. Like that. That's insane. Like you said it, man. He's the most dynamic tight end we've seen in a while. You can maybe give the blocking to Loveland, but other than that, Warren's the guy. Warren's one of the most dynamic guys in this draft. Like he is a guy who can, take a loss and turn it to a dub. And I don't see that in Loveland. Like Warren has a dynamic ability, and I just don't see that there. And to your point, I don't really think they needed a tight end at all. I mean, you said it. They have other needs. They addressed O line a lot in the offseason and got some good guys, but I still think that could have been an option here, or shore up the defense, be kind of like a classic Bears move. Make sure your defense is ready to rock. But yeah, to get a tight end when you kind of already have a guy who's decent. I mean, I don't remember where we had him in our rankings, but I mean, Komet's not
It's
buns.
nothing to sneeze at, yeah.
Yeah, and he's a guy who also does a little bit of everything. So it's not like he was just a bruiser or just a pass catching tight end. He has a good balance of both. So for them to take a tight end that also just has a good balance of both, a little odd. But I've seen a lot of people saying Ben Johnson thought this was Laporta all over again, and I saw a lot of people comparing Loveland to Laporta. So I feel like he's kind of just chasing, his old fling.
Hey, if the first move Ben Johnson makes for a division rival is a shit one, can't say that I'm complaining. Yeah,
Yeah. And for the record, people, this is not a Penn State anti-Michigan thing. AJ's
it's
spitting
not.
facts here.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I got the Penn State bias inside of me, but for this specific
Yeah,
conversation,
there's no
it is
bias.
not in scope, all right?
Yeah, I
Just
did not see that one coming.
yeah, I guess I'll ask you then, both not a fan of that, but do you think the Bears turned it around with what they did the rest of the draft?
I mean, it wasn't terrible. I Nothing really jumps out at me. Like that's part of what's so upsetting with them going tight end and then I mean, let's just say it, picking the wrong one. Because like I said, I think Warren is one of the more special players in this draft. As we know, the position you play and all of that determines, and just team needs determines where you're picked in the draft. But if you just want like a dynamic dog, like Warren's a top five guy in this draft. So to
Uh-huh.
pass him up and go the same position is just insane. Um, Nothing else really. I didn't really deep dive the Bears too much on the rest of their draft, but I mean they addressed some positions of need. I mean, we just got to see what these guys got. But yeah, nothing really jumped out at me.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing I'll add to that is I kind of like that they took a flyer on Luther Burden in the second round with their round two pick. It's a guy that had a down year last year, but coming into this college season, he was projected top five for sure. No doubt about
Yeah.
it. Undisputed number one wideout off the board. And obviously it didn't pan out that way. So guy like that drop into the second round, you just, losing Keenan Allen. I don't mind that. So I think they made up a little bit
Yeah.
for
Yeah, I
the first
I
round, but
agree. He I mean, you said it. He was supposed to be one of the top picks in this draft looking ahead. And yeah, to get him in the second round, yeah, there is value there, but it's another position for me for the Bears. Like, it's not a pressing need right now. Like, there are other ways to help your young quarterback in Caleb Williams and, a defense that's pretty good, but, always room for improvement there, especially if you're the Bears. You're top five or bust pretty much these days. But yeah, it's it's puzzling to me that they went offensive weapons round one and two. But I do agree. I think Burden could be something there.
yeah. And then I guess I'll just wrap up the tight end conversation because there were two of them off the board in the first round. This will be really quick. I mean, got to give props to the Colts. They
Yeah.
capitalized on Warren falling down to 14. That guy is not number 14 in this draft. I personally believe he's much higher than that, at least top 10. As you said, might even argue top 5 in terms of just talent and what you bring to a team. And the Colts were a team that tight end was probably their number one need. They got the least out of tight ends of any team in the NFL last year. They got the most dynamic guy in college last year at
Yeah.
14. So really well done by them.
Yeah. It's not going to be the least, impact by tight ends this year for the Colts.
Yeah,
Yeah. That would be a shocker. But yeah, it was a great pick for them. I'm sure they weren't expecting him to fall there. I wouldn't be shocked if they were on the phone trying to move up for him.
probably right, honestly. At the same time, though, there weren't too many teams after. I mean, after the Jets, I definitely wouldn't have thought the Bears. So I guess you never know. If you want a guy, go up and get him, be safe. But
Yeah.
um, worked out for him. So good on them. Patience, got a position of need, and at a good value. So Pat, pass it back to you. You got anything you particularly liked or didn't like?
Yeah, I got one at the moment I liked and then found out it was quite terrible, and that's the Falcons. They went double edge, traded back into the first round, and got the edge out of Tennessee, and they had already gotten Walker out of Georgia. And yeah, I at the time I thought it was a good move, and then come to find out they gave up a future first round pick for this, and I think something else too. They might have given up a middle round pick as well. But yeah, that's just too much. It really is. I mean, especially this class. There's a lot of talent on the D line, and we'll even mention some teams that found some talent later on in the draft. So to trade up and basically sell next year's draft for this guy, I don't know.
I would agree. I would agree. I mean, especially where there's no guarantees that the Falcons perform. Like the NFC South is weaker, but until said otherwise, the Bucks still run that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I think they'll improve, but I don't think that first round pick's going to be 30th next year.
exactly. That's what I'm working towards. Like I think they
Yeah,
gave up too much value with where that pick's likely to be next year. Maybe it would have been smart to fill some other gaps. Falcons are not a team without gaps.
yeah,
So
that's true.
just throwing that out there. And we'll jump to a team I want to give credit to here, and I don't give it to this team often. The New York Football Giants
Yeah,
staying true to it, taking Abdul Carter at 3. I was worried, and we'll talk about this a little more later. I think at first everybody was a little curious, do they go Shadur here or not? But I don't think anybody in any 32 of the draft rooms ever thought that was a possibility based on when Shadur ended up. But we'll save that for a
right.
little bit later. Um, but yeah, Abdul Carter at 3, great move by them. I mean,
hmm
in my opinion, the top guy in this draft class. Two teams before him thought they had more pressing needs. Fair, but to sit at 3, get Abdul Carter, well done. Pair him up with either Thibodeau or Burns or both. I
Yeah,
mean, having
It
three
it
stud edges is like that's not the worst thing in the world. Rotate,
no.
keep them fresh,
Yeah.
And if you realize two just need to be on the field more often than the other, then hey, if it's Carter, he waits a little bit. If it's Burns or Thibodeau, you can look to offload and pick up a need elsewhere, whether that be draft capital or player for player. Not that trades happen too often in the NFL, but it's an option.
Very true. Yeah, I think the Giants had a plan. I mean, I talked about it before, which actually this episode didn't air, but we had some technical difficulties. um, but I was saying how the Giants going Carter here kind of makes, the edge rushing room a little crowded. And, they doubled down on that. They use a fifth year option on Thibodeau. So yeah, they want to keep all three. I guess, like you said, keep them fresh. I mean, who knows? Maybe they're gonna make a playoff push.
Who knows? Maybe they put four up front or something now, and they run one of the edges super wide, and the other gets to play like a normal edge position. Who knows what they do with that? I'm
Yeah,
kind of
I
curious.
just wonder. They're all like similar builds. Like they're all like very clearly 3-4 outside linebackers or maybe 4
Yep,
3 ends. But to move one of them inside, I don't even know who you pick. I guess Burns maybe, but
I
yeah, I
would
don't know.
agree.
Third and
If it
longs,
had
I
to be
mean, you can
somebody,
bring
it
out
would be
the speed.
Burns.
Bring out the speed, third and longs, send all three, see what happens. But I'm glad you bring up the Giants. They had a phenomenal draft, honestly. Division rival, not too happy to see it, but yeah, I like their move getting Dart too in the first round. I think, he could have something, and Giants definitely need to bring somebody in, and to have Russ and Winston too. I mean, two guys who've been in the league for a minute, so not a bad duo to learn from. And then getting Scatabo in the fourth too. I thought after all the hype and everything, he was gonna creep into the third, maybe even late second. And yeah, here he is in the fourth round. So I think that's great value there too.
Yeah, agree with you on Scatabo. Not entirely sold on their move to move back into the first to get Jackson Dart, though. Not sold on that. They already invested in Jameis for 2 years, signed. Um, gosh, I'm blanking right now.
Russ.
Russ. Yeah,
Yeah.
there it is.
He's
Good old.
dangerous.
Yeah, I'm feeling dangerous. Let's ride.
Let's
Um,
ride.
but anyways, so Dart's clearly not going to start this year. We know that, and that's fine.
Yeah.
You and I are
We love
known
that.
fans of
Yeah.
that. Like, sit your rookie the first year if you can, and
Yes,
even if you
sir.
can't, still sit him. Like,
Yeah, right.
I don't care who you roll out there, just not him.
Yep.
Um, but I don't know, man. Clutch time last year, end of the season. Jackson Dart just absolutely terrible play. I see your point of like the Giants need a young quarterback. Take a chance. But with where some of the other guys fell, was it really necessary to make this move? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough to say. I mean, it's all speculation, and like you hear that there's a bunch of teams interested in Dart, so you feel the need to move up. But yeah, who knows what's true anymore? I mean, like you said, there's a certain quarterback we'll get to that just kept on falling. And yeah, it wasn't a quarterback class, clearly. I mean, we saw Ward go number one and Dart was next. And after that, I think we're talking round three.
Yeah, just like we had Tyler Stow, I think, got drafted in the second
Oh,
round,
right.
maybe the
Yeah.
Louisville
Which I,
quarterback.
I don't like that one. We might
I
as well
don't like
talk
that
about
either.
that one next.
Yeah,
Saints. You're on the hot seat. No,
yeah.
I didn't like that pick. He was in college for 7 years. So you're kind of already in the range of where we want the guy to come in as a starter after a year or two on the bench or whatever in the pros. And, this guy's running behind, and I wasn't all that impressed um, with just his ability. I mean, he has decent scrambling, playmaking ability, but the arm I don't think is all that special. And like I said, I think age is a big factor here. Especially for quarterback, you definitely want to have him sit a little bit and learn, and then it's go time. And if they do that with him now, I mean, he's going to be 30 when he gets a shot.
Oh yeah, and to your point about arm talent, the combine film on him was awful.
Oh my God.
It
The
was
one is a meme, dude.
terrible.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Like, what was he
But the
trying
one
to
where he's
do?
rolling out to his left and he tries to go
He just,
crossbody and it's just
yeah, he
yeah.
like flicks. Oh my gosh,
It's so bad.
dude,
So
he
bad.
just. It was like the Kobe at the trash can, but like Mahomes, and you just like flick it out there. Like I don't know what he was going for, but
Yeah.
it's like, dude, you're at the combine. Now's not the time for your tricks.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, well, I propose we take a mini break from this. We'll come back to this. We've mentioned it enough times. I feel like we've got to have the Shadur conversation.
Let's do it.
It's got to happen. What was going through your mind? We'll say I think the first real like, whoa, what's gonna happen here was Steelers passing him up at 21.
Right.
What was going through your mind when the Steelers passed on him there?
When they passed on him, I was literally praising Tomlin to the heavens. I couldn't
Yeah,
believe it. I was like, dude, you are in the hot seat. You need a flashy pick, like to keep your job. And he was just like, no, damn it. I have winning season after winning season. Like I know what I'm doing. And we're going, what'd they go? D tackle?
yeah, Derek Harmon
Yeah.
out of Oregon. Which great story,
Yeah,
by the
that's a
way.
great pick.
Little
Yeah,
interjection. Great story.
yeah, this is
He got drafted. Got to go see his mom and let her know, and passed away shortly after. Rest in peace to her. But that's a really awesome story.
it
So
really
I
is.
wish him nothing but the best. Guy I really want to see succeed.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, that was an amazing story. She was holding on till she knew where her boy was going.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just so happy with that, honestly. And I'm not even a Steeler fan, but I was so happy. I was like, he stuck it to him, you know. But I was a little shocked. I mean, they need a quarterback, right? And we found out round after round, nah, we're good. We don't need
It's
a
Rudolph or
quarterback.
Rodgers, dude. That is the Steelers quarterback
Yeah,
this year.
yep, yeah. They did not address it later in the draft, so
Will
um,
Howard, I guess,
yeah,
technically. But
yeah. Which was what, like round 6 or something?
yeah. Yeah.
Which Howard, I mean, he's not terrible, but I agree. It's Rudolph or Rogers here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking right now, not years down the road. So, um, but yeah, that was surprising. And then we saw in round 2 and round 3, the Browns and the Raiders just had like a cluster of picks. And I was like, it's happening. Like it has to be one of these. And then it was just one after another. Like, and they weren't making boneheaded decisions either. Like they
Nope.
were getting good guys. So it was kind of similar to the Tomlin thing. I was like, all right, yeah, you need other shit. Like, do your thing. I mean, comes out Sanders had terrible interviews and yeah, just
Unsurprising.
right. And he just seems like a job, like an added chore to these teams, it seems.
To
And
put
I
it
don't blame them at
nicely,
all to
he
pass on
seems
him.
like a jackass.
Yeah,
And that's
right.
putting it nicely.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is the NFL. Like I love that about the NFL, but there's not a place for people like that. Like it is a team sport. It is not a you and we follow dealio. And yeah, it's great. We even see it with guys that have proven themselves in the league. Like even Rodgers, like we were just mentioning, like Jets kind of gave him whatever the hell he wanted. We saw what happened. Like these are things that aren't going to happen again in the future. Like guys cannot run the organization. You can't be the GM in the NFL.
No, you cannot.
Yeah.
Just doesn't work. Does not work. Um, but yeah, to kind of add to that, I mean, do you think the interviews was the main reason he dropped all the way to the fifth round? Or do you think there were other factors? Because for me
His father,
personally,
I
well,
think, is
that's
definitely a
yeah, I
factor.
think that goes without saying. His dad definitely did not help. But I'm gonna be honest, I think talent evaluation played a part. I don't know if his talent evaluation drops him all the way down to the fifth, but in terms of pure talent, if I'm grading him, I probably got him as a third rounder.
Yeah.
Personally, like I'm not high on him as a quarterback. To be
Yeah.
honest with you, I'm not.
I was talking to a coworker about it the other day, and they said they saw something where his stats in college like almost perfectly aligned with Gardner Minshew's. And I love me some Minshew mania, but that man was a 6 round pick. So even so, the Browns may have, pulled the trigger too soon.
Yeah.
Plus, it gets to a point too. If you're the Browns, like teams have passed on him and passed on him and passed on him. Like, don't you want to push it another round or two, like to see? Because
Well, I
I feel
mean,
like they already addressed quarterback anyway. They got the Oregon kid. Like, why? It's not as much of a need now. So, like, why are you forcing it there? I mean, they're gonna have quarterback battle, but they have four quarterbacks, two of which have started in this league, and now you got two rookies. So, are you gonna roster all four of these on a 53 man, or is somebody getting the boot? And if so, don't you dare boot Joe Flacco.
but yeah, well, you could have the new emergency quarterback rule might help them as well.
That's true.
So that might be what their plan is there, and like this might be a bit of a stretch because it's the NFL draft and every team's trying to improve. But the Browns had a lot of picks here, and Shedeur dropping to the fifth round, so much media attention. Do you ever consider a team drafts a player for the revenue that they're going to bring in, just for the story behind it?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think that's a thing. I'm not sure if that's what happened here, but maybe. I mean, you make a good point. They had a crap ton of picks, so maybe it got to the point where it was just like, hey, let's make some money.
Well, like, and to your point, they already drafted Dylan Gabriel out of Oregon.
Yeah.
You know, they already had two other seasoned veterans on the roster.
Yep.
What was the reason for drafting Shedeur there? Because if you think that he's going to beat out Dylan Gabriel, then you fucked up taking Dylan Gabriel. So
Right.
I don't see football logic that really explains this pick
Yeah.
to me,
No, I
personally.
agree. And I think the Browns were off to a hot start too. Like their first few picks, I was like, holy shit, this isn't the Browns. Who was drafting for these guys? Like, this is looking nice. And then they take Gabriel in the third. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, okay, maybe. And then they go and take Sanders in the fifth. I'm like, all right, you're the Browns again.
Yep. I mean, they did start off really well. I really liked the trade they made with the Jags. I thought they got quite a good
Oh, yeah.
return there to only move back three picks, still get a
Yep.
position of need. You know, they decided Travis Hunter isn't something that they needed,
Mm-hmm.
which good for you,
Yeah, I thought that
Browns.
was, yeah,
Good
I
for
thought
you,
that was pretty
Browns.
mature for them.
Yeah,
And, they got Graham, he looks like a game wrecker. Like, that was a
I
really
agree.
good pick. They're off to a hot start, and then they just browned it up.
hmm And like, yeah, that's that on the Browns. I think I was shocked that Shedeur fell that far, but honestly, probably about an appropriate drafting spot based on the talent that I think that he has. He was just so hyped up by the media. It seemed like he was a shoe-in for top 10 at the latest. Actually, we'll say 21st to the Steelers at the latest was
Right.
the
Yeah.
latest he would ever go. And just round after round after round after round after round,
It was
he
crazy.
just did
We
not
had the
go.
prank call. Like, what?
Yeah. Uh, gosh, and I think, gosh, I got to call this out here. Just a little funny moment. I think the favorite thing that came out of that was all the memes about Shedeur. You know, him dropping so many rounds, and the favorite one that I saw was just a picture of Shedeur with the caption of girlfriend says to boyfriend, "Babe, do you think you can go multiple rounds?" Me, picture of Shedeur. I was losing my
I
shit.
didn't see that. That's awesome.
That one sent me. There were so many good ones, but that one just
Oh, that's
it
really good.
killed me. Uh, Goodness. But but we mentioned Travis Hunter there, so let's talk about that a little bit. Um, to the Jags, he's made it clear he's playing both sides of the ball. Not playing both sides of the ball is not an option. So I guess the
Yeah.
Jags are okay with that. And I think the Jags are going to be disappointed in this pick, especially considering they gave up extra to move up to get him. I
Hmm.
don't like this for them at all.
Yeah, I agree. It's a team with countless needs. I mean, they really hit the shitter. And yeah, I guess maybe that's their thinking. We need so much. Let's go two for one. But yeah, then they give up picks. So there goes that logic. Um, but yeah, I don't like it. We've talked about Hunter a bunch. He's a corner. In both our eyes, we think he's a solid corner. Could be a very good corner.
Yeah,
But is he second overall worthy corner? I don't know. And he's certainly not second overall receiver.
I agree. And I talked about this in our non-aired episode,
Right.
but to actually tell the people now, mentioned that picks 5 through 7 all had rookie GMs. Okay,
Hmm.
so I thought maybe they take a breath, they trade back, allow themselves to settle in, build up some draft capital. What does the Jags' new GM do? What does he do? Gives up extra draft capital to go and to make what seems like a forced pick. It
Yeah.
didn't really make sense for them specifically to do that, given what you just said. There were so many other needs, so
Yeah.
many, and they have to truly believe in their heart of hearts that Travis Hunter completely fills two of their needs.
Hmm.
They have to believe that. Otherwise,
Yeah.
this makes no sense to me at all.
Oh yeah. They're definitely living or dying on that hill for sure.
Oh
And
yeah,
that's good entertainment for us. Let's see what happens.
I agree. I agree. So a surprise later in the first round, the Green Bay Packers. They break
Yeah,
tradition.
they did it.
They took a first round wide receiver. The receiver I predicted, by the way. You all didn't get to hear that, but I got this right. Um, but I think bad decision. I do not. I think if they were going to go get a wide receiver one, had to be a bigger guy mold. Matthew Golden is a 5'11 speedster.
Hmm.
He's a Normally, that doesn't turn out to be a true star number one wide receiver in the NFL. Sometimes it
Yeah,
does.
there's been
Most of the
very few.
time, you're a two that stretches the field, hits the big plays, good secondary guy. And what the Packers need is a true number one. They already have like 17 number twos.
Right.
Honestly, they do. But
Yeah.
no true number one. So even though it felt like a pick they made to maybe appease the fan base and finally draft a wide receiver.
Yeah. And just for love too, probably.
Well, yeah, that's
But
exactly what I was getting to. Yeah,
yeah.
yep. But did not like it myself.
Yeah. I agree. I don't think he honestly is all that great. I could be wrong here. I mean, he is definitely got the speed and, that can do numbers for you in the NFL, but yeah, I don't know. It wasn't that great of a move in my opinion. It's a team that's close. They're like one or two moves away from being really good, and I feel like that really wasn't going to move the needle much making that move.
I mean, they
Mostly
can
for the reason
stay.
you said, they have mad receivers, and I don't think he is a number one, and that's what they
Yep,
need. Like if they traded for Metcalf, even like okay, there's something, but yeah, this doesn't really move the needle much.
it's okay. They can stay one or two moves away. I'm good with that.
Right? Yeah.
No
So am
complaints
I,
from
man.
me. Yeah,
So am I.
yeah. The Packers have it too good. Never struggled at quarterback for the past how many freaking years now? It's
Yeah.
goddamn ridiculous. So
Yeah, they
stay
can.
in the shadows
Yeah.
for a little
Check
bit.
out the bottom of the bowl for a little peck.
Exactly. Exactly. Um, but with that, I got just one more I want to discuss a little bit with you, and that's how do you feel about Jonty's fit with the Raiders? First back off the board, off at number 6. How do you feel about it?
I mean, he's gonna get the ball, and he's gonna get it a lot. I'm not all too familiar with the Raiders O line. I feel like at best it's middle of the pack, but I mean that gets kind of iffy with O lines when you get past the great ones and the terrible ones. It's kind of like 15 of them, just whatever order. Um, but yeah, I mean they're gonna feed him the rock for sure. They're gonna get him involved in passing and everything too. I like that Gino's there now. I think that's definitely gonna help the offense just as a whole. I feel like he's a really good leader, and yeah, I mean his skill is kind of but he's a really good leader, and he kind of has that dog in him. We've seen many comeback wins with his time as a Seahawk, and yeah, I feel like that is the biggest move they made is getting him in the building, and I think that's going to help everybody. It's going to help Bowers too. It's going to help Jacoby Myers or whoever the hell their number one is.
Gotta be Jacoby. I mean, guess technically Brock Bowers probably is who they would
Yeah,
say. If
right.
they had to
But
list
yeah,
somebody, it'd
I
be him.
mean, and that's part of why I said what I said. I mean, he's got to get the ball 30 times a game. Fresh running back, let's go. Just
Yep.
feed him. We don't have anything else. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure his stats like per carry or anything like that or per touch aren't going to be too great just because of, all the other holes on this team. But I'm sure he'll be good. I mean, he's going to definitely have some highlights. He's a stud. I love this guy.
I agree. I think I think I'd throw a word of caution out to the Raiders, though, is that you're not likely to do anything this year. No matter what Chris thinks, he'll probably have you winning the goddamn division. But, um,
Every time.
yeah. But be careful with Johnson's workload in year one. Is I think the word of caution that I would throw out there. Don't run him into the ground in year
Hmm.
one when
Yeah, we'll see. I don't think
there's
they'll
no
listen.
need for it. He's still going to get the ball a lot, but rotate in some of your other backs, all right? Like,
Yeah,
give
that
him a
would be the
break.
smart thing to do, but I don't know if it's the Raider thing to do.
That's probably correct. So, we'll see what happens. We'll see what
Yeah, we
happens.
will.
Sincere McCormick or Zamir White show something in camp so we don't lose Ashton Jaunty early, all right? That's all I'm
Right.
saying. Give me
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
Uh,
please don't let this guy get shelved with an injury. My gosh.
yeah.
That would be terrible.
Tell me about it. But now let's jump to talk about our teams a little bit. We refrained in that the first 30 minutes here, but let's start with you. And the Philadelphia Eagles had about a gazillion picks, most of them in
Yeah,
round 6 and 7. But that's still new talent on the team. What'd you think?
I love it, man. And Howie we trust. He's yet to have us doubt him at all the last few years. But I thought we made another bang in the first round. Just it's amazing the amount of talent that has fallen to the Eagles these past few years. And Jod Campbell's another one where I mean he was top 15 pick, and that's even with the injury concern with his shoulder. I mean, if that was not a thing at all, who knows where this guy would have went? And we managed to get him at 31, trade up one pick to do so. Word on the street is we were calling at pick 20 to try and get this guy. And, they're probably trying to rip Howie off. And he's like, no, I'm not doing that. No, no, no. And he finally strikes a deal with the Chiefs. They only move back one spot. And, we get him for only giving up a fifth round pick. And, we have plenty, as you mentioned. So I thought it was a great move to start. Um, yeah, I'm very curious to see what the Eagles do with him. Is he going to be an off ball linebacker? Is he going to rush the quarterback a little bit? It seemed like looking at his college tape, they have him coming off the end quite a bit. Kind of gives Parsons vibes in that way because he's, not massive, but, just a freak of nature nonetheless. And yeah, has some edge rush ability and off ball ability. So I'm curious to see how we blend him, Bond, and Dean. Um, but yeah, round two, we take a safety out of Texas, and this guy looks tiny. I was doubting Howie already. I was like, all right, Thursday was good. What's going on here? Um, but yeah, looking at the tape, the guy's a baller. He plays way bigger than he is, and he's kind of a ball hawk too. Like he goes and gets the thing. So that one's growing on me, but at first I was like, this guy is tiny. But I think it's another thing. Like the Eagles have been getting safeties that can play, slot corner and kind of move them around. And I feel like this guy can do that. So I feel like this was probably a chasing CJ Gardner Johnson type pick because his impact on the team was great the 2 years we had him. So definitely going to miss that unless this guy fills the hole. Didn't
Hate
have a
that
third
guy.
round pick. Yeah. Save it. Didn't have a third round pick. In the fourth round, we take Ty Robinson, who is a freaking unit, dude. A D tackle. He is massive and very athletic. Um, it seems like he has a little nastiness to him too. Like I was afraid it was kind of like a late round Jordan Davis. Like you get this big giant teddy bear, which is like, yeah, great, you're clogging the holes, but like I want a mean MFer. And I feel like this might be the guy. Um, and to get him in the fourth round, I think is great. This is kind of what I was talking about earlier. a lot of D-line talent in this draft, and I think they just pushed back because it was just one after another. And yeah, I think the Eagles might have found something there. As we get later in the draft, we had 3/5 and 4/6 round picks. So yeah, it's basically, filling out special teams. Maybe you find something, maybe you don't. But we did address cornerback, linebacker, and then we got two offensive tackles, one of which was or is a unit. He's actually your favorite team, Michigan. He's like 6'7" and my gosh, like 350, and the guy can move all right. So that's always the biggest question when they're that big. But yeah, this guy has decent mobility, so I think we might have a chance on one of them. Stoutland U, so he'll probably teach him up, and we'll have the best O line in the league yet again. But we also drafted a center, forgot to mention. And center this year, only like three guys were drafted, which I found interesting. But so we got a top three center out of the draft. And yeah, who knows there? Jurgens is kind of a question mark. I mean, he was good at center, but I feel like there is always potential. We slot him back over at right guard and get somebody else in at center. And I don't think it's this guy being a fifth round pick, but Jason Kelsey was, or he might have been a sixth. But yeah, you never know. And then the Eagles also did get a quarterback, Kyle McCord from Syracuse.
Right.
Um, this guy was a beast statistically, though. So I don't expect anything here. It's obviously hurts his team. And Tanner McKee honestly looks great whenever he plays preseason and garbage time, but the guy looks really good. So I'm hoping, and I'm sure he will, but I'm hoping he remains the backup. And, if Hurts ever does go down, we see what he does before we see McCord. But I thought it wasn't bad for a depth piece. We had Dorian Thomas Robinson or whatever, that Brown who kept
Yeah.
stealing Winston's playing time. He was our third string. So bye byes.
I don't know, maybe not, because McCord, I watched him play at Ohio State before he transferred out to Syracuse. Garbage. So, uh,
Certified
garbage, yeah.
garbage.
Yeah, just gonna throw that out there. I mean, that's kind of my default for most Ohio State players, just to put that out there, but um,
I can't
he
wait
was
to talk
actually
about your
not
first
good.
round pick.
Yeah, tell me about it. I was so disappointed that he had to come out of Ohio State. I still haven't even worn off the shine of like, oh, he's a Lion now, so I'm putting my weight behind him and rooting for him. Nah, bro, go do
It
something on the
takes
field
time.
first, then we can
Yeah,
have a different
it takes
conversation.
time.
Yeah.
I
So,
need
but
five
anyways,
pancakes.
yeah, that guy, first round pick for the Lions at number 28, Tyleik Williams out of Ohio State, as we mentioned. Um, Kind of excited about this one in terms of what he might bring talent wise. He's a very different D tackle from Ali McNeil. Ali McNeil is more of your pass rushing D tackle on the inside. That's what he excels at, and
Mhm.
what Tyleik brings is an elite run stopping game. That's his calling card. That's what he's known for. You know, every single report on him is like, this guy can't stop the run already. He will stop the run day one in the NFL. What he needs to improve on is the pass rush. Can he do that? I don't know. We'll see. Lions have been improving just about everybody they bring in on defense since Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes took over. And before I even talk about the rest, I'm just going to say this line now. Um, so I think since Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell took over, for me, this was the least exciting NFL draft for the Lions. But sometimes that's okay. Most of the
Yeah.
time, that's actually better. It means you're just filling the smaller amount of holes than you have rather than taking some big star guy because you sucked the year before. So, most unexciting, but I will not doubt Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell and their selections until they give me a reason to. So, before I even talk about the rest, I'm just going to throw that out there. Until they give me a reason, I'll trust. Um, but yeah, so I'm very excited about what Tylee's going to do to the run game there. Gives us more depth on the inside we saw last year once we started getting some injuries on the defensive line and just the defense in general. That's really where our downfall started. So, big fan of addressing defense there in the first round. Now, in round two, we address another need. We're getting a little thin at the guard position. So, what do? dip into the Georgia pool for the first time in this draft.
It
We take
works.
Tate Ratledge, a guard, you know, big, mean guy, excited. I don't think he's going to slot into the starting lineup day one. Maybe. Don't think so. But very excited to have him for the future because I think he will eventually start for the Lions at a guard spot. Not sure right or left. We'll find out. But I think he's got a lot of potential there. Now, round three, this one was interesting. I honestly
Yeah.
didn't know too much about this guy coming
I
into the
was
draft.
I was just
Um,
gonna say, please tell me everything you know. I don't know who this is.
yeah, that's the thing. I am actually a little bit in the dark on this guy outside of what I read post draft. And big body guy, played in the SEC, 6'4", but he's also primarily a slot guy at six
Hmm,
four. So that's a
yeah,
little
that's interesting.
interesting. So my main question is what is the plan for him? What are we going to try to move him to the outside? Because the slot
Yes.
is Amon Ra's spot,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
nobody is taking Amon Ra's spot. I mean, if the plan is to have him try to learn from Amon Ra, you know, that's fine. That's fine and great. But where's he going to play? Because it
Mm,
certainly isn't over Amon Ra. So I feel like it's 6'4". You got to move to the outside, man. Like it just has to be done. So we'll see what happens there. That was the pick that made me and why I felt like I needed to say what I did earlier. I don't really know what the goal there was. I'm not upset with the position we took there. I mean, we have Amon Ra, Jameson Williams, and that's what we know. Long-term wide
yeah.
receiver future of the Lions. Behind that, we've got the Khalif Raymond, we've got Tim Patrick, but none of them are long-term number threes. So I don't hate going wide receiver here, and if this guy works out, well, shit, we're set for a while. All three are pretty young, so
Yeah.
we'll see what happens there. Like the Eagles, the Lions also did not have a pick in the fourth round. So we move on to the fifth, where another interesting one, just because we doubled up on the position, taking Miles Frazier, another guard. Um, I did not look too much into this guy, to be honest. I was a little upset that we doubled up on guard here. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. I thought we could take a flyer on something else, especially once you get to the fifth round. Take a position of possible need and maybe you find a diamond in the rough. Don't think that's the guard spot for us. Don't hate it because again, other side of the coin, it is the fifth round. So if you really believe in a guy, go for it. But we'll see. We'll see what happens here. So we go to the sixth, and the Lions make history. They draft the first ever Egyptian player into the NFL with Ahmed Hassanein, I think is maybe how you say that last name, edge out of Boise State. Um, so that's cool, you know, first Egyptian drafted in the NFL, but I'm also very unconvinced. He played on a Boise State team that was not great defensively. There's a reason Jonty had to run freaking wild,
Yeah.
and it wasn't because they were stopping teams. But can't put a team performance all on one player, as you mentioned earlier, true team game. And we needed depth at the edge spot. We learned that last year when Aiden Hutchinson went down and we didn't really have a great replacement. We got a lot worse on the defensive side of the ball. So this guy can come in and do even a little bit, even, just breathers for Hutch, and in the case that he goes down or got another guy in the line that goes down and he can hop in and do a job, that's fine. Don't hate it. Now, two picks in the seventh round where we dipped our toes into the Georgia pool both times. So the Lions decided to take a page from the Eagles book and go heavy Georgia in this draft. Seems like a safe bet if you look at recent history. Um, First pick in the seventh round, Dan Jackson, safety. Don't hate it. I mean, we got Kirby there and all that good stuff. Kirby's really great. Had Melon Fonwu. Brian Branch can play safety much better as a nickel, but as a seventh rounder, reality is you're not going to hop right into the team most likely and start. So little depth piece type deal. Special teams, as you mentioned earlier. So don't hate it. Don't hate it. Then the second pick in the 7th round, we go wide receiver again. Dominic Lovett out of Georgia. This guy, your more prototypical slot guy. So, and I actually don't mind us doubling up on wide receiver here because even though our top two are really good, we do need depth in the wide receiver room and younger depth for sure. So I actually really like what we did here with this last pick. It's a guy, he knows how to make plays in traffic. He's got a bit of butterfingers. That is definitely a bit of a problem. He's got a drop problem. But if he can address that, he could absolutely become a quality guy. Probably never a true star, but he could become a quality guy for a team, and I wouldn't complain about it. Also does punt coverage. So again, special teams edition. Can't ever hate
Yeah.
that in the late rounds. Special
No.
teams is a whole phase of the game. There are 3 phases of the game. People forget that. Offense, defense, special teams. You can win or lose by your
Yeah.
special teams play. So I'm never opposed to making special teams picks us in the later rounds. Obviously, you should never pick like a gunner. Oh, he's the best gunner in college. Let me take him in the 2nd round. No, what are we doing here? But in your,
Yeah.
6th and 7th round picks, you're a little less certain with what you're working with. They're good on special teams. Maybe they
Yeah.
prove something on offense or defense. Great. If not, totally fine too. You're getting what you
Yeah.
need out of them.
Exactly. It's pretty much one of the only ways, unless you're going like kicker or punter, where you actually can make a safe pick late in the NFL draft. Because if these guys did that in college, that translates almost 9 times out of 10. That translates to the pros. If you're a special team guru, it's going to work in the pros. And then, like you said, sometimes, on offense or defense, they can contribute too. I mean, think about like Mac Hollins, receiver's been in the league for frickin' 8 years now or whatever. He was like the best special teamer in college. Eagles drafted him, didn't really do much at receiver, was great on special teams. And then now look at what he's done for the Dolphins, Bills. I mean, list goes on. The guy's been on a shit ton of teams, but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, you never know, and you always have that safety that they're gonna contribute on special teams, which, as you mentioned, is an overlooked part of the game.
100%. 100%. I mean, I think that's what I got for the Lions. You talked through Eagles, talked through some of those picks. You got anything else you want to talk about draft wise? I'm just excited for the season to start up again. That's really what I got.
Yeah, me too, dude. I'm juiced. I'm really excited for our dynasty draft, bro. Rookie
Oh, I am
draft.
also
I'm
excited for the Dynasty
juiced.
draft.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot went down this past week. It's honestly a lot to soak in, but yeah, I'm just really excited to see what some of these rookies do. Of course, the skilled guys grab your attention too, like how are they going to use him? And yeah, some teams have positions that got crowded now too. And we're going to figure out how that all gets sorted out too. Like Jags going running back, they already have ETN. Bigsby looked good. Like, what do they do? Um, but yeah, there's so much to figure out now, and it's like, hey, it's a new year. Let's soak it all in and get some game picks wrong.
Hell yeah. It's go time, baby. That's all I know. But with that, thank you all for listening in again. Like I said, I know we were on a bit of a hiatus there, so we appreciate you coming back and giving us a listen. Had a lot of fun, as always. It is our pleasure, and we will be back with you next week.
Later, PCC.